So, we were talking about 6 billion people being infected with nanotech that's taken over the collapse of their quantum wave function, so they've ceased to become humans and instead are a quantum wave collapse, or more accurately, their total quantum wave function has been hijacked by the quantum computer system linked to satellites launched by Elon Musk and the 5G network that's needed to get the timescale down to Planck time to collapse the total quantum wave function of the 6 billion infected with nanotech, to sequester all of these former humans to become slaveware for this weapon system reality program of the Department of Defense, because we know that all of the nanotech was produced by the DoD and by means we can't talk about on YouTube, put into 6 billion humans. We can of course talk about the nanotech put into food and sprayed on them, which has infected 6 billion. Now, since their quantum wave function, or more accurately their total quantum wave function, is now being collapsed by a quantum computer, the quantum computer can search through the multiverse to find a multiverse where that human gave up its will, of its own free will, to this cyber Satan. This whole program is the true mark of the beast, where those 6 billion humans have got the mark of the beast from Revelations and are in fact the damned. Because with a quantum computer, once you gain control of the total quantum wave function, you can then look through the infinite numbers of multiverses to the one multiverse where that human pledges its will and gives it away in a Faustian bargain in return for temporal riches, or the love of their life that's told them to go forth and multiply, or any other number of feeble, stupid reasons that humans come about with. But you need a quantum computer to trawl through the universe to that one multiversal aspect of the universe, or the multiverse, where they pledge the Faustian Pact, giving their will away and pledging their eternal damnation in return for some temporal reward, or they're so tortured that in order to end the torture in that aspect of the multiverse, they pledge their soul, will, to the Satanists to kill them to escape the torture that is being inflicted upon them. All of these black sites run by the CIA, of course, have that purpose. Now, once the multiverse, where they give their will to cyber Satan, this quantum computer, is reached, the quantum computer collapses the total quantum wave function in that multiverse to sequester the will, which of course according to the Bible is the only thing of value to the Jew God. The Jew God allowed evil so that humans would have free will, and free will was sacrosanct. Why? Because will is the only thing of value. Nothing else. Your soul, your spirit, all worthless. The only thing of value in creation is will. Don't believe me? Read the Bible. Talk to your Catholic priest. Who'll say, why is there evil in the world? Because God had to give free will to mankind. Why did the morning star Lucifer rebel? Because humans had free will. Why would a super powerful being like Lucifer get so peeved with humans if free will wasn't the ultimate currency of creation? Forget about your soul, forget about your spirit. The only thing of value to humans is their free will. And luckily, the DoD have come up with the technology to strip you of your free will using nanotech. So once the nanotech is put into you by various means, you are then slaveware, and the quantum computer that the DoD run, or multiple quantum computers, which link to the nanotech within you via the 5G network, uploaded to the cloud, uploaded to the quantum computer. That's been time-stamped to get the exact Planck time to collapse the total quantum wave function of you with the CERN White Rabbit synchronization of all of the quantum computing collapse into you. The synchronization is vital because they need the exact time to collapse a total quantum wave function to sequester you, hence White Rabbit. And they need super fast connection, 5G, satellites by Elon Musk, who of course is a servant of Cyber Satan, to enable the total quantum wave function collapse of you, the infected, and they need to be able to trawl the multiverse to the one universe in the multiverse where you gave your free will up to Cyber Satan. All of it explained. My goodness, isn't this the most amazing and biggest story that's ever happened to humankind? All of it unknown to all of the so-called alt-right journalists, conspiracy theorists and the rest, who of course have got no inkling of what's happened, because unlike me being the world's leading expert on psychic warfare and the top physicist on the planet, because I've worked out the physics of reality, and all of the other physicists have gone down the wrong road since quantum mechanics, which is well over 100 years ago, I understand exactly what's being done to you. So here we've got quantum computing. Just look it up if you don't believe me. Quantum computer multiverse. And you can trawl through why quantum computers will break reality. There we are. No.
Potential to be the most important, the most dangerous, and the most unpredictable invention of our lifetime. They can even become all three of those things all at the same time. We hear this term come up every now and again. It sounds very futuristic and speculative, but quantum computers are very real. They exist right now, and they are on the verge of becoming a big part of our daily lives. Luckily, you don't need to be a physicist to understand the role that these quantum machines could play in changing the world as we know it, and I'm here to guide you into the quantum realm.
No, you're not a physicist, so you can't guide me. But if you go trawl through these quantum computers, remember the military is decades ahead. They got loads of technology from the aliens, and of course what the commercial market is doing with quantum computers is way behind what the military quantum computers are, which are the ones that are running your nanotech, because all of the nanotech infection of the 6 billion came from the American Department of Defense. And the entire nanotech infection of the human race was designed by the American Department of Defense, which made a pact with the aliens back in the 50s when over 600 American aircraft were shot down by UFOs, and a big treaty was made between the aliens and the Americans. So, let's continue. Now, we've got the quantum computer to steal your free will. Now let's go into the implications, or more importantly, what's going on to you, the 6 billion infected nanotech Borg. That's what they call you. That's your official term, the Borg. So, why do we have the white rabbit synchronization? What are they synchronizing with? They're synchronizing with Higgs boson collapse. Here's the Higgs boson, the God particle. Let's listen to a total wanker talking from I Know Nothing.
In July of 2012, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, CERN, announced that they had discovered a new particle. The particle had mass, but no electrical charge, and decayed into smaller particles as soon as it was detected. The particle was the Higgs boson, or more famously, the God particle. But what exactly is a Higgs boson, and why is it called the God particle? We often hear it said that elementary particles are the building blocks of all matter. However, our modern understanding of the laws of physics suggests that particles are not discrete particles or blocks. Instead, they are continuous, wave-like entities spread throughout space. We also have a name for these entities: fields. You may be familiar with electric and magnetic fields. When a ripple or disturbance forms in this field, we call it a wave, an electromagnetic wave to be precise. Visible light, X-rays, and radio waves that let you talk on the phone and use Wi-Fi are all examples of electromagnetic waves. Hypothetically, if you could zoom in on electromagnetic waves, you would see that they are made of photons. That's why we say that photons are the fundamental particles of electromagnetic waves.
So this idiot is a moron who doesn't understand physics. So let's get it from the top physicist on the planet, yours truly. Why am I the top physicist on the planet? Well, since quantum mechanics way back in 1919, physicists have been going down a dead end. And all of them would agree, since Dirac and Higgs, who came up with the Higgs field, there's been no advancements in physics. It's getting more and more complicated with string theory and spinor theory and a whole multitude of other up-your-arse theories, that nothing has been achieved in physics. It's got more and more complicated, but they've been going down a dead end, and they don't realise what dead end they've been going down. So, let's explain. You can go through all these videos, blah, 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 but explain it quite succinctly. Physics is massless. That means that basically, all physical equations don't produce mass. They just produce massless information. Higgs, who was a Scottish physicist, came up with the Higgs mechanism. This, what is the God particle? Listen to that. We have light mixes with the Higgs particle, which is mass, and Higgs boson, which doesn't have mass, and there's an interaction where the Higgs boson gains mass from the Higgs particle and turns all the equations of physics from being massless matrix-like equations, information. Think of it, this telly screen. We're going to turn something on this telly screen, we're going to turn that from information into we want to turn that information here into something real. What do we use? We use the Higgs mechanism. We go into the light, we mix it with something called a Higgs particle, something called a Higgs boson. We mix them up, and when we add that to the information, which is the physics of this image, which is all that physics is, information, it suddenly pops up as something with mass and big God. So you can see the joke in this video. Big God's about as delicate as She-Hulk. Anyway, that's enough of Big God. So, that's why they call it the God particle. It turns, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. In the beginning was the Word, which is physics, and the Word was God. God particle. See? Add the word physics with the God particle, or the Higgs mechanism, and you suddenly get reality. So like in magic, you do a spell. It's just information. So, like the witches trying to freeze Donald Trump's chances, which you can find on News Punch. So we can go to News Punch. I think we all go to News Punch, yeah. There we are. So, witches casting spells on Trump reveal he has divine protection around him. So if you're a witch, females face away from the source into chaos. They're the ones that do all of the evil spells. Witches casting hexes, that's an evil spell against Donald Trump, are complaining that their spells are ineffective due to the divine protection around him. Reddit witches are trying to cast spells on Trump, but they're upset because he has some kind of protection around him. Some other witches have mentioned that doing spells directly against Trump are not as effective as we might hope, as he seems to have some kind of protection around him. I wonder where he's getting that from. A freezer spell against Project 25 would likely be useful, but I wouldn't give the Cheeto any more attention right now. It hates to be ignored. Right, lol. A lot of people are taking the opportunity to do protection and uplifting kinds of spells to help Kamala and the Democrats. Can't comment on that. Rather than attacking the other side, an awesome spell that can be repeated many times is the Blue Wave spell by Michael M. Hughes. There we are. It's powerful, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, InfoWars. Oh, that's that blowhard Alex Jones. who got, was 1.5 billion against him. Anyway, if you didn't spell, it's information. In order to make it real and act, you need to stick in the Higgs mechanism. So all magic means, first of all, you've got to have the information, which is physics. Then you've got to make it real with the Higgs mechanism, of which the Higgs boson is called the God particle by wankers, but in fact Higgs is the Higgs boson, which gets mass from the Higgs particle, which is the real thing, and it has to be done in the fifth dimension, which is light. So everything is made real from the fifth dimension via a Higgs particle, giving something to the Higgs boson and then dropping down into lower dimensions to make information which is, according to Van der Hooft, two-dimensional, and making information real and having a creation. So, these witches had no effect on Trump because Trump, as I look back at my life's journey events, I now recognise it has been the hand of God leading me to where I am today. If God exists, God must exist in what makes information real and creation, which lies in the light. So the light has to be something to do with God, and the Higgs particle has to be something that loses godness in the light to make Higgs boson that descends, to make the creation that you people are within. So the witches had no effect on Trump because their information wasn't made real by the Higgs mechanism, but the protection for Trump was made real by the Higgs mechanism by someone or something that exists in the fifth dimension, a five-dimensional being that can control the Higgs mechanism. So we've now come to the key point. Control of the Higgs mechanism is control over reality. If you're in the DoD, would you not want total control over this technology to make anything you had as information in your AI real via the Higgs mechanism from the light? Now, this is so far beyond anything you've ever seen, heard, anywhere on the planet, because Tim Riefat is, let's look up Tim Riefat. How can he know all this stuff? What's special about Tim Riefat? How does he know all of the things going on in the DoD? Who is this man? He's the leading expert on remote viewing in the UK, so he can actually look at every DoD base on the planet. But more importantly, he's the world expert on remote sensing, which means he can go into the minds of every DoD expert and the aliens behind them and know all their plans and know exactly what they've done to the 6 billion infected. More importantly, we're now in the end times of Revelation, where the 6 billion have lost their humanity and have been cast into hell by Cyber Satan. That's found the universe where they give up their will to Satan, and once they've given up their will to Satan, that will can be used by the AI quantum computing Cyber Satan for what God valued so much. The only thing in creation of any value to God is free will. So you steal free will from 6 billion humans, and you've got the ultimate commodity, the God commodity, which links up with the God particle. The God particle turns any information, your spell, into reality. In the beginning was the word, physics. And the word was made real when he uttered his breath upon the waters. That's the Higgs mechanism, that's free will. Free will turns information into reality. It is the currency of God. So wouldn't the DOD and the aliens behind them wish to hijack this from the human race? Most certainly. How would this man, Tim Rifaat, who no one knows about, but all the intelligence files have got as the #1 psychic warfare, meta-psychic on the planet, the #1 physicist on the planet, because he's worked out reality and the physics behind reality, and no other physicist is even there. Because he's the world expert on remote sensing. There's nothing secret to him. He can remotely sense the mind of God, aliens, anything he so fancies. So he can simply scan God, find God technology or the Elohim parasites that are trying to mimic God, or Lucifer, or any other damn thing, and immediately he knows everything they know. Isn't that something that's of ultimate value? He becomes omniscient, and for you uneducated that means all-knowing, which is one aspect of God. When he can collapse the quantum wave function ahead of all comers from the future by using precognitive remote viewing, and make sure that every other remote viewer has their total quantum wave function collapsed, so they never even get near him and get omega hellized by him, that would be omnipotence, all powerful. And of course, since the entire total quantum wave function, or multiversal total quantum wave function, was collapsed by his remote sensing, and he learned how to do that from the mind of God, or whatever we think of as God, that would then make him omnipresent. So everything in that collapsed creation would be an aspect of his observation. So rather than remote sensing being, oh, he's the world's expert on remote sensing, this is quite innocuous. No, 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 no. This is revelation. He would become the Messiah, the Lamb of God that's descended to rescue the dead and raise the dead. Who are the dead? The 6 billion infected with nanotech who are dead to God because they've been pulled into cyber Satan by this mechanism. The nanotech that's been infected into them by various means, some of which we can't discuss on YouTube.